All right, LatinBayArea.com is super excited to be here with Dolores Huerta, who is the president and founder of the Dolores Huerta Foundation, and Peter Bratt. How are you guys doing today?
Doing all right.
Did I get the names right?
Dolores, our film opens this Friday, so we're pumped up.
It opens this Friday in the Bay Area, 3 locations, San Rafael in the north, San Francisco here where we're at, and Berkeley in the East Bay. So you guys are doing a really good job of covering it. I wanted to ask some modern times topics. I remember, Dolores, you said in the ethnic studies, right, in Texas, that Republicans hate Latinos. I actually agreed with that.
That was prophetic.
How do you feel that in today's time? Has that changed, and what's going on, with Trump and DACA and everything going on? What's your feeling on that?
Well, I think it's actually been reinforced when Trump has come out calling Mexicans rapists and criminals, and says he wants to build a border between here and Mexico, which is stupid, since Mexico is one of the United States' biggest trading partners. And then he pardons Joe Arpaio, who was convicted, by a jury of wrongdoing against Latinos and inmates in his jails. And then he comes out against the Dreamers and attacked a federal judge, Judge Cuellar, because he was a Mexican. I mean, what more do we need? Más patadas, more kicks, to kind of wake us up and realize that these Republicans don't like us, and they really don't like us. And so it's time for us to really make sure that in the next election we get as many of them out of office as we can, because we have all of those Congress people are going to be running for Congress in 2018, and so we have a really good opportunity. And we want to say to all the folks that are listening here, talk to your relatives and see how many of them haven't registered to vote. How many of them, maybe you have some relatives that haven't become citizens and they're entitled to. And so we have all of these millions of our people that are not using their people power to be able to right the wrongs and to stop them from attacking us.
And all that information is on your foundation website, right? And what is the website exactly?
DoloresHuerta.org.
And what can they find there when they go to DoloresHuerta.org?
Well, they'll find a lot of information about this movie that Peter and Carlos Santana produced and Peter directed. They're going to find out some of the actions that we're taking, some of the work that we're doing on stopping the school-to-prison pipeline, our LGBT efforts that we're doing with the Latino community to kind of raise the consciousness of our people, what we're doing on health, on the physical exercise, with our bike program, and nutrition programs, and of course our civic engagement. And the main thing that we're focusing on is stopping that school-to-prison pipeline. We're active in 7 different school districts and 9 different communities, organizing people so that they can take on the issues and solve their own problems.
Dolores, you're a machine.
I can't stress the importance of that issue. If you look at who's filling up the prisons and the jails, you see a lot of brown and black men.
It's our communities.
We're at a crisis state. So that's why what she's doing is so important.
What you guys are doing with this movie comes at a perfect time, right? Trump just got elected 6 months ago. We got DACA yesterday that was turned down. And so your movie comes at a great time. We really need to see Latina empowerment in our communities. Why did it take so long to make this movie? Why did they finally make a movie about Dolores Huerta? Because there's so many about Cesar Chavez. But in this movie, people are going to know that you're leader A, leader B. Why did it take so long to make that Dolores?
This movie would not have been made without the commitment of Carlos Santana. He put a stake in the ground. He said, we're going to make this movie now. I don't care. I'll finance the movie. And he did. Otherwise, her story would still be largely unknown. Now, what we didn't know, Carlos had the foresight and the wisdom. We started 5 years ago. We didn't know that Donald Trump was going to be elected. We didn't know Joe Arpaio was going to be pardoned for racial profiling Latinos. But right now, her example and the work, it speaks to where we are right now. So there's an urgency to what she's doing and the story. So I really hope Latinos come out, see the film, and get inspired to take action. They've been calling us the sleeping giant. We've been asleep. We need to register to vote, and we need to go vote, because that's how we're going to change the policies at the local level and the national.
And we want to see all those dreamers out there, and God bless you, and We really respect and admire for all of what you're doing, and I know many of you can't vote because you're not residents or you're not citizens of the United States, but we need your energy to be able to go out there and to encourage all of those other people. And it's wonderful to protest and to march, but we've got to get all those people that are marching to march to the ballot box and get them to vote, and also to run for office. We have to take over some of these positions like we do, where we organize people. We encourage them to run for office, and guess what? They get elected, and they have these positions of power. The other thing I just want to say is that we have to be careful that they don't use the whole issue of the dreamers of DACA to divide our community, because what they're saying, well, we might let the dreamers stay here, we might approve DACA, but in the meantime, we want to exchange that to build the wall. So I think we have to really be careful about what they're going to try to do to divide our community, and I don't think we're going to allow them to do that.
Another great thing about your film is it's a history piece. I learned more about seeing your film about the UFW movement, about the Chicano movement, the Latina movement, the feminist movement, the Black movement, the Filipino movement in the 60s and 70s. It's a total history piece. I learned, I hate to say this, I learned more about your movie than I did with the 10 documentaries of Cesar Chavez. It's so well done. What is the message that you would love for people to take from this historic piece of history of your film?
Well, I hope that they take the message that we do have the power, but that we've got to get together, we've got to organize, we've got to take direct, nonviolent action, and that's the way that we win. And we've got to reach out to other people to help us, that we can't do it alone. And to have faith in each other, and definitely we're not going to quit, we're going to resist, and we're going to build a power of, I'm saying going to build a wall, a congressional wall, so that we can stop all of these terrible things that the Trump administration is trying to do, not only to our community, but to everybody else. But if we elect enough Congress people in 2018, we can build a wall of congressional power in the White House, in the administration.
Peter, what did you learn from Dolores from making this film? Everybody knows about Dolores and what she's been doing now for the community for 50 years, pretty much. What's a couple things you learned from working with her closely?
Well, I thought I knew who Dolores was, but spending 5 years making this film and researching and interviewing, dozens of people, I learned there's so much that I didn't know about Dolores. Even when I came to the project, I didn't even know she had 11 children. She had 11 children, and managed to accomplish so much. But for me, sometimes when I see what's going on in the country today, sometimes I don't want to get out of bed. I feel like, what's the use? And I think what I got from Dolores, through her example, and then knowing her personally, is I've developed an emotional fortitude. Like there's no room. I can be sad, but I don't feel sorry for myself anymore. There's too much work to do. And so, like Dolores, you have to see the opportunity, and there is opportunity in what's happening right now today. People are angry, people are frustrated, and we have to channel that frustration and the anger and use it to move forward.
What people are also going to learn about Dolores in this beautiful, crafted movie is her 50 years of service to our Latino community.
Try 70 years of service.
Yes. Oh, wow. I'm more impressed. Dolores, you're a machine. You're fire. I'm so glad Obama gave you the medal. You are the strongest Latina in the United States. You are. There's no
Hands
one.
down.
Well, I think we have a few others like Sotomayor, for instance, Hilda Solis, who's on the supervisors.
There's a lot of great Latinas.
A lot of great Latinas in the legislature.
A lot of wise,
and the Congress.
great
no
wise
one been doing
Latinas,
it
right?
longer, though.
But there's no one that can touch your legacy, and that's what people. I'm excited that people are going to see. They're going to see that from the early '60s, maybe '62. You started all this as a political leader in the community service organization.
Actually, we started in 1955.
55. You were the youngest political director up in Sacramento. And then in 62, you had a lot of experience under your belt being young. And like you said earlier, you had 7 children, and you decided just to, agree to go with Cesar Chavez and create the United Farmers Workers Union.
And quit my teaching job.
Quit your teaching job, move from Stockton to Delano, uproot all your family. It tells the kind of character you are, Dolores. People are really going to see that, and they're going to be amazed how you stay so positive and young looking. What's the secret of life? How do you do it?
Well, I think just being involved, knowing that we can make a difference, and but the main thing is to touch other people. And when we think about myself as being recognized, we're not thinking of all of the other people, like my daughter Camila Chavez. She's the executive director of my foundation. All of the 20 staff people that we had that are out there doing the grunt work, they're out there organizing, and then we think of all of the people in the Farm Workers Union that lost their lives. We had 5 martyrs, many people that went to jail. People that were beaten, people that lost their homes. So a lot of people made a lot of sacrifices to get the basic human rights for farm workers, the right to organize, the right to have toilets in the fields, cold drinking water, rest periods, and safety standards. So it takes a lot of people, but that's the main thing that we have to remember is that each one of us can do something, and it takes a lot of us, being involved and being active and giving up a little bit of our time to help with the campaigns, to help with other organizations, and this is the way that we make a difference. So we don't have to feel that we're going to do it all. We just have to do our part.
2 final questions. What are the challenges today in the UFW that you see as an outsider, so to speak, and also what's the mission of your new career, which is the Dolores Huerta Foundation?
Well, it's really not that new. I mean, we
No.
did grassroots organizing back there, Cesar and myself in the community service organization before we formed the United Farm Workers. And so I'm kind of going back to the future when I'm doing that, because I know that it's a method of organizing that really works. It was taught to us by Fred Ross Sr., whose son, by the way, Fred Ross Jr., is still active here in the Bay Area. He works for the IBEW. And, just knowing that the recipe of getting people together and reminding them that they have power, and then building a base, building a lot of people together so that then we can take on the different issues. And they are the ones that actually do all of the work. My job and the job of my foundation is just to teach them how to come together, how to organize, how to take that direct action, and to make them understand that this public life is their life also. They have their private life, but they have a role to play in the public world. And they have to get involved to make sure the good people get elected, and some of them can also get elected, like the people that we organize. They actually run for office. So this is the way we have to make it happen, because the people that sit on those decision-making tables, they decide what policies are going to be made, like DACA. They decide where our tax dollars are going to be spent, and we just recently passed here in California Proposition 55, which was an extension of Proposition 30 to tax the millionaires. So here in California, if you're a millionaire, you have to pay 3% more in state taxes. As a result of that, we've gotten over $9 billion a year, into our educational system. And we have a proposition, SB 54 now to make California a sanctuary state. And we're just on the verge of making that happen. So we need people to call the governor's office, email the governor's office, Jerry Brown, and say, please sign this bill, SB 54. So these are the actions that we can take as citizens, and we have to do this, because if we don't do it, nobody's going to do it for us.
It's amazing you still have this fire, Dolores. And we're very thankful for the Latino community to do it. What are today's challenges for your foundation and the UFW? I mean, it's been, like you said, 70 years. It feels like nothing's changed.
Oh, a lot has changed. I think we made a lot of improvements when we look back at the 60s, but we know that the journey is not finished yet. Our biggest challenge is just trying to get enough money to hire more organizers and send them into different communities, because if we had a lot of money, we could be in not just in 9 communities, we could be in 59 communities, all over the Central Valley and all over the country, because we do know how to organize, we know how to make it happen. And for United Farm Workers, of course, they still have the challenge that Cesar and I had, that the growers are going to resist, they're going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to keep from signing those collective bargaining agreements, and that is a challenge that they still have today.
Great. I want to thank both Dolores, president and founder of the Dolores Huerta Foundation, and Peter Bratt for creating this masterpiece of a movie, which comes out in the Bay Area this Friday. And
This Friday.
Oh, we're excited. And LatinBayArea.com is giving away tickets. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for spreading the word.
Oh, that was an awesome interview.
Yeah, you like
Thank
it?
you. Yes, very
Thank you
much.
so
Thank you.
much. Gracias. Brother.
It's always good to be interviewed by somebody who understands the movement. You know,
sí.
it makes so much difference, you know, because you don't waste a lot of time, because we have to educate you.
Exactly. You know, my dad was, he worked in a mission district as